Have you ever been working on a new literature review, working your way through the academic databases, the academic publisher websites, downloading dozens upon dozens of journal articles, book chapters, and so on that might be relevant to your literature review, and then you end up with a folder with you know 30, 50, 100 PDF articles with completely useless file names and you don't know what's what. This app, this PDF organizer tool, was designed to quickly and easily solve that problem. Let me show you how it works. So the first thing you want to do when you open the app is click choose file or choose folder, and basically just select the folder that has the PDF articles in it that you want to rename, and then click preview. And it's going to quickly identify all of those current names. And these are actually, I've got this open in a Windows Explorer window, File Explorer window over here. There's the same articles, slightly different sort order at the moment, but same articles. So the current name, the new name, you can see the basic format is first author, last name, underscore, second author, last name, underscore, third author, last name, underscore, and so on. And then finally the year. And so that's the basic format. You can see that these quickly formatted according to the authors and years. And on the right side, the status column, you can see what those renames were based upon. And so most of these are renamed based on DOI, so the document object identifier. What the app does is it quickly identifies the DOI in the PDF, and then it pings the internet, gets the metadata for that DOI, and so the list of authors and the publication year, and that's what it generates the new name based on. In most cases, as you can see, that works fine. Sometimes it doesn't. So here's one renamed based on PDF metadata. In that case, it either wasn't able to find a DOI or it wasn't able to find the metadata for the DOI when it pinged the internet. And so it reverts to the PDF document itself for looking for any metadata embedded within that document. And so that's what worked in this case. And it's got a few other steps that are rarely needed. If all of those steps fail, then you'll get something like this: rename unable to identify, so unknown. And so in this case, unknown 2024. So basically it's saying that it couldn't identify any of the authors' last names, but it could identify the publication year, 2024. And so if it couldn't identify the publication year, then instead of 2024, it would say YYYY as a placeholder for the year. Now, suppose I know, however, that this is, let's say this is a book chapter that doesn't have the unauthored book and one chapter from the book, and it doesn't have the author's name in it, but I know the authors, so I can double click it. I can just change this. Let's say it's Jones 2024. I can just push enter there, and now it's going to rename it accordingly. You can also see up here there are a couple that say made unique, and it gives the example 2020A, 2020B. And in this case, that's because these authors, these articles have the same authors in the same order and the same publication year. So it's going to create a conflict. You can't have two file names with the same name. And so what it reverts to in this case is the actually APA guideline to add an A or B, C, D, and so on after the publication year, according to the order in which the article would appear in the reference list. And so in this case, it's basically the alphabetical order of the title. And so the app has automatically identified that order and added an A and a B accordingly to the end of the year to ensure that these are unique file names. So I could change this. You can see these two longer articles. These are actually only three names. The first two are hyphenated names, so they're pretty long. But you can see at the end here, before the year, it has et al. That tells me that there are more than three authors. And so there are authors that it was not able to include in the file name. based on the default max authors of 3. And so anytime it's not able to include all the authors in the name, it'll include et al. So that you know there's additional authors that were not included. I could change this max authors. Let's change it to 6 and click preview again. And you can see now it's including more authors. And in fact, all the authors, I know that because there's no et al. With it anymore. Going the other way, I could change this. Let's say I change it to 1, preview. And now, you get more et als, but they've all only got one author name, including, hyphenated names only count as 1, obviously. Except in this case of the 2 file names with the same author list. And so what it does, it prioritizes adding authors beyond your max authors before it starts adding A, B. And so in this case, it looked at the 2 first authors in the year and said, those are duplicates. I need another author. I need to exceed the max authors. And so it added a second author, saw that it's still a duplicate, added a third author, saw that it's still a duplicate, tried to add a fourth author, but neither of the articles had a fourth author. And so it added the year. And after all of that, the file names are still the same. And so therefore, it goes to the AB lettering system. So that's the basics. This ASCII file name up here at the top. So basically, if you click that and you run it, sometimes author names have spaces, apostrophes, hyphens, tildes, some special characters essentially that can sometimes, especially historically, create some problems with file names. Generally not a problem these days, but if you want to ensure maximum compatibility of your file names, then you could click that. And basically what it'll do is it'll just strip out all of those special characters from the new file name, but keep everything else intact. So we've got this. Let's go ahead and click the rename, and you can watch over on this File Explorer window. You'll see that those files are about to be renamed, and there it is. And let's say I made a mistake. It's probably rare that this would be the case, but if you made a mistake, you need to back up. Notice that it created a log file, and this is just a comma separated file, and so you could open it in Notepad or Excel or whatever, and what you would see is 2 columns, one with the new file name and one with the old file name. And so if you push undo here, it's going to find the most recent log file in that folder, and it's going to basically just go in reverse order based on that file. And so I can click undo here. I get a few notification messages that you don't see because of the way this is set up, but you can see it's reverted back to the original file names. And so let's see, let's go ahead and I can rename this as many times as I want. 4, I set it for 4. We'll do that. I can rename, get some confirmations, and there it changes to 4. And you can see it's got 2 log files now, one for each time I ran the rename process. So that's the basics of the app, what it'll do for you. There is one more really nice feature that I want to introduce you to. And so sometimes you have articles that are faxed or scanned, and they're not really text readable documents. They're more like images of text. And I've got an example here I can show you. This is an article that has been scanned in one way or another, faxed, I don't know. But I can't select that text because that's really actually an image in the PDF document. And so that's not readable text, but doing an OCR scan, which is an optical character recognition scan, it will read this image looking for text in there and convert this to readable text. And so this takes a little bit longer, and so I separated it for you here. I'm going to just get it started while we keep talking. I'll choose that folder and run a preview. And you can see, oh, I'm blocking you here. Let me get that out of here. It automatically recognizes that it needs to run an OCR scan on these. And so it'll show you the status. It's moving a little bit slower right now. It's still on one of the two. And these files could have been embedded in this original folder, and it would have done it just the same. It just would have taken longer for that example. So I separated them for the purpose of this tutorial to talk about them separately. So while that's running, you can see it's on 2 of 2 now. Down here on bottom, you can see a notes window. You can always check that for information about what's going on. You can see my name and contact information in the lower left. If you have suggestions or run into problems, feel free to reach out to me. There's a tutorial video link here, which will actually take you to this video. I'm not sure, maybe you got here using that link, but maybe you just are being first introduced to this on YouTube or something and don't even have the app downloaded yet. By the way, you can do that in the comments below. But if you ever need to get back to this tutorial video, you can just click there. We've got the version number in the lower right. All right, so this scan is done, the OCR scan of these two documents. The one that I was showing you, here, I'll show you again. We can see that this is Collins and Miller, and I don't know if you can see that year, but it's 1994. And so that is consistent with Collins Miller 1994. And it'll tell you it renamed based on the OCR scan. So that was successful. The other one was not. So it's renamed unknown YYYY. And I happen to know just this file. I know it's from a book chapter, and it has neither the author nor the year in it. And so, that's not unexpected. But again, I can rename this. Let's say it's Cooper 2025. Enter and done. And so and I can run this process, and you can see that it renames them in the file list, creates the log, and so that's it. That's what the app can do for you. I think it can make your life a whole lot easier when you're wanting to make your PDF documents more recognizable by their file names. And I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching.